Happy Saturday to you. We're on Melrose Mountain. It's 62 degrees. They say this is the coldest it's been in August in 100 years. We were sitting with some friends just recently, some people that we knew over 40 years ago in the east coast of Florida. And we were just reminiscing about different trips and travel and how it is to get along with some people for a day or two, but harder when you spend a whole week with them. We talked about family camping and all of those wonderful memories that we build as we're getting a little bit older. And as we were talking about that, the conversation changed over to flying on airplanes and good experiences and bad experiences we'd all had on airplanes. And I remembered a trip back from Portugal. I was by myself. It was a business trip. The plane was filled. I was in the center seat. On one side, I had an overweight man that was taking more than his share of his chair. On the other side, I had someone that I don't believe had had a bath in probably a week. I mean, the smell was just terrible. And I remember how terrible it was when I thought about the fact that we were going to be on that plane for 9 hours before we would land in Puerto Rico, and then hopefully he would get off. But if not, it was going to be another hour or so back into the United States and to Miami. Well, when somebody hasn't had a bath and someone has body odor, it's not a very pleasant experience. Just recently, as I was coming back up the mountain, pulling my little trailer with some gravel on it, I broke an axle, and I had to get down into ground that where it had just rained. It was muddy and dirty, and I got filthy dirty trying to get under the trailer to try to tie up the axle to be able to push it off the road and to be able to come back at a later date and fix the axle. I'm sure by the time the first person that lives up here on the mountain came by and saw me in my dilemma and tried to help me, I probably didn't smell very good then. But by the time we'd gotten the trailer completely off the road, I'm sure I smelled really ripe. And I can remember after it was all settled and done and I got home here to the house, that hot shower, that Irish Spring soap, oh, it felt so good to be clean. Reminds me of Psalm 51. You see, in 51, it tells us about being washed. Now, my daughter used to laugh at us because we would have put an R in a lot of words because we were from the north, wash and squash. And I really worked hard to break that habit. But in any case, in the scriptures, 131 times it talks about washing, from the priests that had to wash to offer their sacrifices, all the way down through to washing ourselves. 78 times the single word wash without washed or washes, and 5 times it says wash me. Listen to what it says in Psalm 51. It's a very interesting psalm. In verse 2 it says, "Be gracious to me, O God, according to your loving kindness, according to the gentleness of your compassion. Blot out my transgressions, wash me, and make me clean." In verse 7 it says, "Purify me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I'll be whiter than snow." It's quite interesting, isn't it? How the term doesn't really speak so much to a dirty body and body odor, but it talks about something that's just as vile. When we become contaminated with sin, and we have to cry out to God to wash us, to make us whiter than snow. And he paid the price to do that, didn't he? Well, I hope that you'll remember that. I hope every time you get into the shower or into the tub that you remember it's not just the outside that needs to be cleaned. It's our inner soul, our inner person, the things that we've allowed to become in our lives that contaminate us. Well, I went to the stewardess. She gave me some smelly liquid. I'm not even sure what it was. She said, "Just accidentally spill this on the carpet around your seat, and this will overcome the odor that you have." And so I went back to my seat. I took the little cup she gave me. I reached down for my briefcase and deliberately spilled the fluid on the carpet. The odor of that was so much better than the odor of the man sitting alongside of me that I was able to make my 9-hour plane ride. But covering up is not nearly as good as a good washing. So I hope you go to church tomorrow. Be washed whiter than snow. Listen to his words and let him examine your life and wash you whiter than snow.